Hi everybody, John Mather from West Coast Digital. Now, yesterday I released a post over on the westcoastdigital.com.au website on how you can centrally align vertical and horizontal divs within Pinegrow, and I also capped that off with a second part which showed us how to add a patterned background to the central aligned background element. So what we want to do in this video is I want to take that to the next step, and I want to create this. So you can see the content is centrally aligned, it has an image background and it has a pattern overlay, but we've added in this one page scroll, which I'm clicking on the radio buttons to nav. I can hit the space bar to scroll. I can also use my mouse wheel to scroll through. So let's get this built in Pinegrow. This shouldn't take too long. It's a pretty straightforward sort of process. So I think we should be able to do this in one video. What I need you to do for me is, if we jump over to the peakdesign.com/demos /one page scroll demo, you can see where that jQuery plugin is being used. So we can download on GitHub, which takes us to the GitHub page. So we click on clone or download and download that zip file. Next thing we want to do is go into Pinegrow and we'll start a new page. And I just want an index.html. We will save that as I'll save this to my desktop, to a new folder called one page scroll. We'll save that in there. I'll then find that downloaded one page scroll master, and we will get the CSS and the min, and I will copy that and I'll put that into our one page scroll, which should be here somewhere. Here it is, under assets, and we'll create a new folder, one page, and paste. I think I typed that wrong. Yeah, I did. There we go. So in our one page folder, we've got the minimum JS, we've got the CSS, and we've put that in our assets folder, and we can see where our Pinegrow template has been saved. Next thing we want to do is I'm going to open up my brackets here. When that's open, we'll come back over here, we'll drag it in, I'll open that folder. So we go to desktop and one page scroll. So we've got that loaded up here, and under, no we haven't yet, there it is, under assets, we'll create another file, and we'll call that one page.init.js, and we'll add in our function to load and then we'll go function, and then we'll close both those off. And now if we go back to the one page scroll and we scroll to the GitHub and we scroll down, we get all this in here. Oops, we go back into here and we'll paste that in. We'll just central that back up. There we go. So we're going to target the main class. We want pagination. I'm not going to worry about the update URL. We do want this to loop, and we will make this horizontal rather than vertical, and then we'll click save on that. Alright, now I'm going to just duplicate this script down here. I'm going to edit the code, and if we look at we're under our assets, under one page, So where it says JS, we will change that to one page, and under one page we have our one page min. So we'll get rid of this IA10, and we will close and keep changes on that. We will duplicate that. We will edit that code, and we will change that to one page init. Done. So what we've done is just loaded our jQuery resources. Now we'll go up to the head. We will get our style sheet here. We will go duplicate that, and we will edit that code. And so now we want one page scroll.css, but we want it to load into, if we go back to this one and have a look, so we want the assets one page. We copied that, and we'll just close the clipboard section, edit code again back in the one page, and we'll just paste that in. So we are now linking, we duplicated the style.css, and we're linking that to assets one page scroll.css. We'll close and keep those changes. So we've loaded our one page love. We can go into here and we can change some more code. We'll go edit code, one page scroll template. We will go edit the code. I'm going to add me in, author, West Coast Digital. A one-page scroll website template created with Pinegrow. There we go, so that finishes off our head. Alright, so now if we remember, we're targeting the, if we look back, we're targeting the main class, so we'll go to the body and we will add a class of main and assign that. Now we're ready to start building our full width layout. So the other thing it's looking for a section. So I'm just going to delete this container here that comes loaded, and we'll start from scratch. So I'm going to, under library, I'm going to add a section. Okay, and we'll add a class to that to page 1. And we can duplicate that. We'll do 5 pages, and we'll add a class, page 2. Actually, what I might do is drag that up. Let's rename the wrong one. And we'll also add a class of just page. So we'll give these sections 2 classes, page and then a page, and then a page 1, page 2, etc., etc. So we'll duplicate that, and we'll delete that, and we'll add page 3. So if we want to target all these individually, we can. We'll do duplicate, and this one, actually, we'll just do 4 pages. There we go. So we've got 4 pages created with 4 sections. Now the next thing we want to do is under here, we'll go back to our library, and we will add in our container. And then we'll add a row. Actually, hang on. No. What we'll do is we will add in our Jumbotron. Under each section. So we duplicate that. We drag that down to duplicate that. Duplicate that. There we go. So all 4 sections have a Jumbotron. Let's go to that prop. Let's click, oh hang on, let's click on the Jumbotron. Click on that class and we'll go add a rule. And let's add margin and padding. So we've got 0 padding, we've got 0 margins. Cool. Let's go to our back to our tree. We'll click on that section. We'll click on page, and we go add a rule. We'll create, and we'll make that height 100 view height. And we give that. We'll check in some margins on that of 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, and there we go. Let's go to our let's go back to our Jumbotron CSS, and we get rid of that purple, that grey background. So we'll go to our background, and we can go RGBA. You can type in transparent, but I prefer to work in RGBA just because of the browser compatibility. So there we go. We have for set up. Now we want to add in to page 1. We will go add a rule. Now I'm going to go to a site called Unsplash It, and this is where I will get my images from. So this is Unsplash It. So this gives you URLs that you can predefine with, so you can have random, you can make them grey, you can blur them, etc., etc., using images from Unsplash, open source images. I can close it, get rid of that. And we can also set the sizing in here. So I'm not going to use a random. I'm going to go to images. I'm going to choose what images I want. If I use random, it only loads one. I don't want the same image on for every section page element we've created. So you can see here, we'll copy that URL there, and under page 1 we'll go create, and we'll go down to the background image and we'll paste that in. Now I want to change that to 1024 by 768. If you are using your own images, obviously you do not need to do this. And you can see these numbers here, they're the numbers we want. So we want 1084, 1084. I'm just going to copy that one, and we've got that one. Then we'll go to page 2, create, and page 2 we will go down to our background image. We will paste that one in, and this time we want 1083. And then I'm going to choose which image do we want next. So I've got sailing one. Let's go this one here, 1069. So page 2 is done. Let's go to page 3, add a rule, create, and we will go image. What did I say? 1063, didn't I? 1070, 1069. 69, and lastly we'll go down to page 4, and we will add a row here, and we'll go down, and 69. I think, if I remember right, I think we did six. We do what did we do? What image? Yeah, 1069. So we'll make that 1070. Okay, now we've got all our sections, background images. So I want to just go back to page, and what I want to do is under the background image, I want to make sure it's just set to no repeat. We'll make sure it's set to center, and we'll make sure it's set to cover. So that's just setting it up so that way on all devices it won't repeat. It'll always be center, and it will always cover the thing. So we're basically scaling our image. Alright. So now we have all that set up. Let's go and set in our overlay. So I'm going to go into our library. We'll get a div element. I want to drag that up above the Jumbotron there, and then I'm going to nest the Jumbotron in that. So this div, I want to give it a class of overlay, assign, and I'm going to go into there. I want to add a create, and I'm going to set that height to 100 VH, just so it scales across. The next thing I want to do with this Jumbotron is I'm going to add in a column, and I'm going to drag that above it. Now when we add a column like this, it always adds this H3 and P element, so I'm going to delete that out, and then I'm going to nest that Jumbotron under there. And the other thing I want to do with this column is I want to make it a 6 wide, so that's how wide I want it. I wonder if I could make it 8 wide. I'll make it 8 wide. Now Bootstrap is 12 columns, so if this is 8 columns wide, that leaves me 4 left here. So I want 2 columns here and 2 columns either side to centrally align this. So I'm going to offset that by 2. Now I'm going to do this for all sizes. There we go. Now the other thing I want to do is I want to add a class of center and assign that, and we'll click on that. And what I want to do is, with this one, I'm going to add a top of 50%. This is not a top margin, it's a top. And I'm going to make that position relative. Now that aligns the top of that div element to the center of the page. So what I want to do now is go back to these rules, and when you hover over here you get this code where it gives you a preview. If you click on that, it allows you to edit. And what we want to do, we want to use this transform, and we want to go translate, and we want to translate the y-axis. Think of it like a grid. We've got a y and a x, so y being the vertical, and we do a minus that 50%. And that you'll see that just shifted up now. So now instead of being the top element aligned centrally, it's the center of that div. So now that is dynamic. So it doesn't matter how much content we put in here, how big tall this div gets, it's always going to be aligned central. Now this works on pretty much all browsers. However, as always with Internet Explorer, it has issues. Internet Explorer 8 and under doesn't recognize this transform translate Y. And Opera Mini. Now I don't know anyone who uses Opera Mini, however you pronounce it, any browser. However, if people are using it, this won't work. So it'll still align, but it will align the top centrally. Now the other thing I want to do is go back to my overlay, and we will add in our overlay here. Now the thing we want to do is, once again, click on that. Instead of opening that, we want to edit the code. And if we jump over to our pattern background here, you can see we've got this. So if you're using Patternify, which I'll just open that in a new tab here for you. So patternify.com. It's a CSS background generator, pattern generator. So we'll make this 6 by 6. So 6 squares by 6 squares. We will change this opacity to say 70%. And we can click on squares where we want our pattern to be, and unclick a square. So you can create your checkerboard effect. And you can see how that will look. What we're going to do is this effect here. Okay, which is that same effect I used here. So what you can do, you can download that as a PNG, which when it does, when you click on that, it downloads it on a file called download. Just edit the extension called PNG and we can upload that, or we can enter this CSS here. So if we copy that CSS code, we'll jump back in here and we paste that in. Oh, it didn't work. Let's try that again. Copy, paste. No, not going to work. Okay, doesn't want to work for some reason. But here's the code there, the CSS code in my pattern background tutorial. So let's enter and paste that in. And keep changes, and there we go. We've got our pattern effect. Now that's still a bit bright for me above that image. So I'm going to change this up. I'm going to add in. I'm going to change that class to pattern. Assign. No, sorry. To pattern rather than overlay. Assign. I'm going to get that, I'm going to edit that code, and I'm just going to make that pattern. And close, oops. Let's go to CSS, where is it? There, edit, and we'll say pattern. There we go. And I'm going to delete that overlay code. I'm going to, back in here, I'm going to add another div. I'm going to add that one in there, and I'm going to give that one a class of overlay, and we'll assign that, and I will drag that in, and we'll drag that in and drag that in, so everything's, so now everything we got, no, I don't want, I don't know why I dragged that in. I don't want that dragged in. I don't know why I did that. Let's just undo that. Here's your undo buttons. There we go. There we go. So now we've got this, under this page, we've got overlay, then we're nested in overlay, we've got pattern and blah, blah, blah. So let's click on overlay and let's go in and add a rule. And we'll add in, once again, we add in the height, 100 view height. Except this time, what I want to do, so this is sitting behind the pattern. So what I want to do is add a background transparency of some black. And we'll make it 0.7. Probably too much. We'll make it 0.3. There we go. So that's just darkened behind the pattern, so you can see the image is a little bit faint. So we've got, we've got multiple layers here. We've got our jumbotron layer, then we've got our pattern layer, then we've got our overlay layer, and then we've got our background layer. And the next thing I want to do is under jumbotron, I'm going to make my font color white. And I'm going to make everything centrally aligned. Bingo! So there we go. So I'm just going to delete all this jumbotron out of my page contents. And just because I could have, it's not that I shouldn't have done it, it's just going to be easier for me to duplicate this whole layer and drag that under page 2, and then we'll duplicate that, and we'll drag that under page 3, and then we'll duplicate that, and we'll drag that under page 4. So now we've got all our pages set up. Let's just go in, and under here we've got our development tools. We've got no errors in there. Yes, we do. We've got one error. Don't see it. So the one page scroll CSS. It doesn't seem to be working. Okay, so we've created all our pages, we've got our overlays, we've got all our content in place, and our CSS isn't loading. Let's just open that back up again so I can see where the error was. Hang on. So it's trying to load it. So if we look at our so we are in assets, one page scroll CSS, and it's trying to load it from where is it? Here it is. It's trying to load it from one page scroll, which is right, but then it's not loading in the assets. So let's have a look at that. So we'll go back up to our head, and it should be assets, one page scroll CSS. Let's go file, save. Don't know why it's not. Let's just open that up. Let's go to our index HTML and we'll load that up. Okay, expect while that's loading. So here's our images loading, and we go to our console, and that error's not there. Let's go view source. We've got our one page scroll. That's alright. That's all good. And maybe it's our initialization that's not working. It's not showing any errors. So I'm not sure why that's not working. Maybe because it's not error. Maybe because there isn't an error in there, but there might be something wrong with my code. So I'm just going to go in and check that. So let's copy that one and let's have a look. So that's what it should look like. Let's save that, file, save. And let's go in and refresh this. And here we go. So here we got our radio buttons and our pages are loading. Alright, so we've got that part working. Let's now look at all our different sections. So we've got our section, page 1. So we've got our sections. We've got our nested in our body. We've got our body marked as main. Let's just have a look at the edit code. Okay, so it won't let me, it doesn't let me preview code here either. So main is targeting a section. And that should be right. Let's just remove these scripts and this CSS and selfish style sheet. nothing in there, is there? That's all good. There's no reason why that shouldn't be working. Let's reload this. Let's have a look. Page. So we've got a pagination. Now I want to go into my style.cs, back into here. I'm going to go into my one page style scroll, and instead of being black for my list items, where is it? So we'll go. So here we want 255, 255, 255, because we don't want it black, we want it white. And that is for our standard colour, and we now need to find the active. Pagination, before, and let's make it white. And we'll save that. And now when we refresh this page, they're white. Okay, so we got them coloured white, but I don't know why this is not working. Let's go to page 2 and look at the code. We've got our unsplash image. You can see where it is. Let's just go into our page 2 and let's just add in, let's just have a look. I just want to go down to the background and make it background red. Okay, so something is not right there. Trying to work out what could be going wrong here. Let's try that Control R. Let's just close this. Don't save. Let's go open file. Go to our one page scroll. We'll open that again. There we go. Okay, so we've got that working. Let's go back up to our head. Let's re-add in our duplicate assets, edit code, and we got one page, set a JS. Okay, so I just duplicated this from the example before earlier, so you can see we've got the section, the jumbotron, the overlay, and the pattern, and we're just redoing the assets, the one page. oh, one page dot in it, not dash in it. Where is it? That one there, I think. Edit code. Yeah, dot in it, not. Let's refresh. Yay, we have it working. And there we go. So let's recap. So we've got because I added in a main. So what I've done differently was I added in main called main rather than applying main to the body. So we added a main called with the class of main. We've then got our section, which has page 1. We've got our jumbotron. We've got our overlay. We've got our pattern. We've got our column. We've got our our jumbotron content. Blah blah blah, and it's all set up. And now it is all working. The last thing we need to do. That's it. No, that's it. That's all we need to do. So there we go. We have our custom template working ready for you, and I will set this up for download so you can analyze it and re-grab it from my Amazon hosting. Any questions, hit me up in the comments. Make sure you subscribe. I've got lots more tutorials coming up. I want to do some really in-depth, I want to do a really in-depth WordPress theme. I've got a client coming up that needs a custom theme, and I'm thinking it'd be really cool to be able to record that and show that to you, how it all works, converting a HTML to a WordPress theme, all within Pinegrow. So once again, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the chats.